Just personally, do you enjoy like the summer league? Is there something about it? I know, like, people like Cape League baseball and stuff. Is there something about the summer league that you enjoy?
It's like a big NBA convention, so you see a lot of people around the league that you don't usually see. So, and obviously it's Vegas. Everybody's kind of casual. Everybody comes with kind of like their corporate, shields down and kind of friendlier, and people are rather upbeat because they're in Vegas and it's summer and there's the off season and the pressures, not quite there of the regular season. So yeah, I mean, it could be, a fun place for a few days.
I can see that where you're not. I mean, the teams aren't necessarily in real competition yet, and you as writers and colleagues really not competing for stories yet. And I guess along those lines, beyond Cooper Flagg being there for a portion of it, what has been the story? What has drawn the most interest from you and your buddies there?
Just kind of who's gonna, the last remnants of free agency. What's going to happen with LeBron James and how some of the, other prospects look, how Bronny James is looking, some of the other high picks from this year. Not a whole lot of buzz around because a lot of players are signed and committed. And then obviously the shoe to drop with LeBron, the shoe to drop with potentially Giannis. Just little things, but not as active as in the past.
Okay, can you kind of explain what's going on with LeBron? Because I've read Summer of LeBron. Is it another Summer of LeBron? What's the deal? What's his situation for people who might not know?
Well, basically, he opted into the last year of his contract, and people would say, well, that's good. He wants to come back. But his agent also released a statement to say he was very closely watching what was going on in L.A., and he wants to compete for championships. So that means, is that a potential warning to the Lakers to get it together, to put together a championship team, or he could request a trade? And then are there a group of teams that would trade for LeBron James at this point in his career? The answer is probably yeah, just a few, not a lot. So people are with no contract beyond this year, and LeBron has usually extended his deal. He'll go for the 1-1. That's been his bread and butter. That people are just kind of wondering whether this is his way, because everything LeBron does is stealth. It's never overt of asking out without really asking out. So that's kind of where we're at. He's not talking. The Lakers really haven't done much this offseason in terms of upgrading their roster to being a championship roster with Luka and LeBron. So people are thinking, and the prevailing thought is LeBron is trying to figure out a way to get out of L.A. without just demanding a trade.
Okay, so is the frustrations the teams like about Luka now, and that they're not invested enough in him? Is that kind of what's going on?
I do think the transformation from the Luka for the LeBron era to the Luka era is underway, and I don't know how LeBron feels about that. I do think there's a sense of urgency, obviously, for LeBron at 40 to turn 41 in December to win right now. The Lakers are not even close. DeAndre Ayton and Jake LaRavia, they kind of essentially have the same team besides the flaky DeAndre Ayton at center. So LeBron's looking at this roster and saying to himself, okay, where's the number 30 guy? Where's the guy who's going to put us over the top? So that will entice potentially other teams to say, okay, we need LeBron, for market, the Knicks, or the Knicks going to get involved, the Cavs, even the Warriors, they're going to get involved to try to get LeBron for one final year. But LeBron does like his money because he could have easily opted out of the contract, been a free agent, but made maybe a portion of the $52 million he opted into. But no, LeBron said, I'm taking the $50 million, and potentially I want to get out of here, but it's going to be a trade because I'm not giving up no money. So, it's LeBron being LeBron.
You mentioned Bronny James. Is there really still a fascination with this kid? I mean, it's hard enough being LeBron's son, but the media's been all over him since the word go.
Very much a fascination. There's people who are literally rooting for him, obviously, and because of the heart thing, because he's LeBron's son, they want to see the improvement, and he is getting better. He definitely looks more like an NBA player here this summer than he did last summer, where he looked completely lost and over his head. He now looks like he could potentially contribute. I'm not talking about being an all-star. I'm not talking about start. I'm talking about being the 8th or 9th man, or maybe the 10th or 11th man, not be an embarrassment, not be the kid on the bench like one of these movies where the kids were playing, the young kids, the 14-year-olds playing Major League Baseball against grown men or anything like that. I can't think of them, like Mike or something like that. That's not the case here, but he is still not, a bona fide NBA player yet. He's still got a lot of growing to do, but there's people who literally, there's a Bronny kind of contingent, people who cheer everything he does.
One other story I'm not fascinated with, but curious about, and I don't know what the buzz is in Las Vegas, is Al Horford, who apparently was supposed to sign with Golden State last week, didn't. I was under the impression it was going to be the Celtics or retirement, but here he is. He's kind of still floating around out there.
Yeah, the Warriors have some things to clear up. The Jonathan Kuminga contract, where he's a restricted free agent. No one has made him an offer, so he could either come back on a qualifying offer to try to explain this quickly, or he could work out a sign and trade with another team, or just continue to not to hold out, and nothing could happen. So if they clear that up, and then they could bring in Horford. I think Horford's deciding whether he wants to bring his family. Obviously, very close to his family, devoted family man, son at every game, in the locker room in Boston, enjoyed Boston. Does he want to move his family all the way for a year, potentially to the West Coast, to try to chase a title? I think that's the biggest thing on his mind. And I also think the Warriors are saying, okay, hold up. We'll try to get you the most money we can, but we got to figure this Kuminga thing out. So everybody's on holding pattern.
Yeah, it's interesting. Out of the different scenarios heading into this offseason, the Al Horford, keeping teams in limbo. I didn't have that on my bingo card, but it's that's one of the big pieces that seems to be holding up a lot of situations as people are trying to figure out what their team is going to look like in the fall.
Yeah, it is. It's interesting. I mean, I don't think people envisioned he'd be so sought after at age 39. That there'd be 2 or 3 teams after him, that a team like the Warriors, who just lost their center Kevon Looney to the Pelicans, would be so much after sought after a 39-year-old center when they have a 37-year-old guard, a 35-year-old forward, a 36-year-old forward. So it's going to be like the senior team there, because we all know, San Francisco, a couple of radio stations have asked me and folks, well, what's Horford going to do for the Warriors? And it's like, well, he's going to play about 60 games. He'll give his best, but you're not expecting him to go all 82, and he's not going to be your starting center because you can't play him a whole lot of minutes. I think we saw that in Boston. The more he played and the more often he played, the less effective he was. He's got to get his rest. So, but he does still have value out there in terms of, a team chasing championship.
Okay, just quickly, and this is just for myself, there was a lot of, complaints about New Orleans giving up a first-round pick to trade up to take Fears. I saw him, It
was Derek Queen. Derek Queen.
Derek Queen, I'm sorry, not Jeremiah Fears. Derek Queen. Derek Queen from Maryland, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So I saw him. I really liked him in college. What is the talk about the Pelicans and making that move in Queen the way that he's going to be effective in the NBA?
Yeah, I think he's got a chance. I think he's got some fire. I think he's a very skilled player. And I'm just not as buoyed by you trade an unrestricted first round pick. Oh my God, this is terrible. Like some of these, the draft is a crapshoot. I think that we all know this. There's with all these guys coming from all these different kind of G League Ignite and all these out of nowhere, and some of these guys not even playing college ball. Or they're barely playing college. You just don't know the type of player you're going to get with a first-round pick unless you're getting a, Cooper Flagg, unless you got a top 5 pick. Now, you trade the top 5 pick, not a smart move. But I'm just not as, bulled over about the Pelicans trading an unrestricted first-round pick for the rights to move up to take Derek Queen as other people have been. I think he'll be fine. In first-round picks, you can get just as good of a player at this point at 25 as you do at 15. We know some of these kids are just not going to make it. Some of these kids are going to be busts. Some of these kids that we don't know. Obviously, guys like Peyton Pritchard, 26th overall pick, has been a very good selection. And others in that area don't make it. So I'm not as pushed over by it, or I'm not ripping Joe Dumars yet for that. If Queen ends up being a real piece for them, it'll be a good deal for New Orleans.
All right. Gary Washburn, it's been too long. We always appreciate it, especially from Vegas. That was very nice of you to come on with us this morning. Everyone read Gary. He's one of the best to do it. Writes about the NBA for the Boston Globe. Thank you, Gary. Enjoy Vegas.
Hey, thanks, guys.
If you like that clip, check out more videos from Toucher and Hardy here. For more Celtics analysis and opinion, hit this playlist. And for all the latest from the Sports Hub, download the app at 985thesportshub.com.